We're going to move on to our second artist for tonight, who is Annie Beegan. And Annie Beegan was born and raised in Southern California. Art has always been a part of her life. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree in studio arts. In Southern California, Annie worked with well-known artists such as Robert Rauschenberg, Sam Francis, Roy Lichtenstein, and performance artist Hirokazu Kosaka. Her work has been influenced by her love for figure drawing, the sights and sounds of the desert, and major events in her life, such as childbirth and death of a loved one. Before moving to Sacramento 7 years ago, Annie was an arts commissioner for the city of Thousand Oaks, where she was involved with their open studio tour and their cultural arts master plan. So please join me in welcoming Annie. Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh my gosh, yes, this is what Verge has set up and has just been so successful at the last two weekends has been amazing. It's been great. It's been great to watch and listen to the other artists.
Yes, I mean, I would imagine just for everyone in the community, it's an opportunity. Like, say you weren't able to rush across town and get to somebody's studio to see that. This is the way we get to do it now. So
yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
So was today a typical or atypical day in your studio?
Oh, it was a not typical day. I worked 7:30 to 4, and I did leave work today at 2 o'clock just to kind of set up, and so I don't get to paint as much as I would like to just because of work, and COVID really kind of affected me just with my painting and just kind of lack of motivation just with everything going on and just trying to stay healthy and safe, but I've gotten that back, and so it's all good.
Good. Do you want to tell us about your current body of work, what you're working on now?
The current body of work, I always have a couple things going at once. I have the series of red sweaters that I've been doing for a couple years. One is kind of in progress back there. It's not red yet. So I do red sweaters, I do women in water, and then I do like desert landscapes. And the red sweaters are, my father wore red sweaters, and just big influence in my life. And so when he passed away, 13 years ago, I just, it's just always tough to lose a loved one. And then I just kind of kept thinking about artists that I studied growing up. Jim Dine did sweaters. Artists tend to do shoes. Van Gogh did shoes. Stephen Korn, Wayne Thiebaud did shoes. And I thought, I'm going to do sweaters. So, I mean, it was just kind of that simple. And so I've just been playing around with different styles and just different ways of painting sweaters. I know it sounds just sweaters. And then it's now kind of a series, I guess, of women in water. And it's more of like a rebirthing kind of series of rebirthing either from tragedy, rebirthing from just life. I don't know. So it's just, and they're usually, well, actually they're naked. So, they're naked women in water. And then my desert scenes, I just love the desert, the Southwest. And my husband and I will travel, and we just go to these remote areas, and just when you're walking and just the sound. And I just posted last night on the artist directory a painting I just finished called Pinyon Pine. It's a dying pinyon tree, and it's just, it's just having, just when you're out in that space, just hearing the sound, and then you just, once the noise gets out of your head, things open up. So
that is wonderful. So tell me about a little more about the women that are in your portraits. Are they people you know? Are you asked to pose, or you're working from photographs?
The first one is actually, the first one I ever did was actually me. There was just a time in my life where I felt like I was drowning. And so I kept I was doing these drawings of just women, well, a figure drowning. And then when I started to paint the painting, she she just kept, she wouldn't drown. And so she was always on her hands and knees. And so that's where rebirth came. And it was just, oh, okay, I'm not drowning. This is a new beginning. This is good. This is a rebirth. So, and from there, it just, it just has kind of worked its way that way. So.
I like that sort of the positive spin that it took, and it's taken on this sort of inspirational motif.
Yeah, because I definitely was feeling, underwater, and this painting, and kind of what Kathy said, I mean, paintings kind of take a life of their own as you're painting them, and they kind of change as you're working on them. And for the life of me, I was trying to have this woman drown, and she wouldn't, so. And here I am.
So what's your current favorite art material that you're using?
I love painting. I started in oils. I moved to acrylic because of the fast drying time, and I had children, young kids who were getting into the paint. And I've just kind of stuck with the acrylic. And my husband keeps saying, got to go back to oils, got to go back to oils. So I will.
Yeah, it's a different time process with oils for sure.
Yeah, but oh man, it's great. I mean, there is a difference. I've been able to do a lot of detail like you would with oils, but I just think that's just from my years of training. But there is something about oils that's pretty wonderful.
So what would you say influences or inspires you now, especially now that we're in this time of COVID, where things have changed? Where are you finding those inspirations?
It was just within myself. I had a great talk with my husband, who I met in art school, and so he's known me for a long time. And we had a talk about 6-8 weeks ago, just about getting back to why I paint, because I was really questioning, why am I painting during this time? So, and it was tough. And I would just paint in spurts of a few hours and not really give it time. And we just had that heart to heart, and it really kind of got me back to my roots. So from that, I've just been reading old books that had inspired me years ago, and just pulling that back into my life and to move forward.
Can I ask what some of that reading has been?
Well, one is Hirokazu. When I worked with him on this performance piece back in 2012, and it was part of the Pacific Standard Time exhibit that was, artists from 1945 to 1980, all on the Pacific Standard Time zone. And so Hirokazu is a performance artist, and so I worked with him at this piece at the Getty Center called Kalpa, and then after I just helped set up the whole staging, and it was amazing. So after that performance, he gave me one of his books from an exhibit, and so I've been reading about that. And Hirokazu, not only is he a performance artist, but he's a Buddhist monk. And he grew up in an 800-year-old Buddhist temple, and just reading just his words about being on the veranda, and where you're not in, you're not out, you're in this gray area, but that's where life happens. And it was just really inspiring to read those words again.
It just sounds so appropriate for where we are right now. That gray area, like where's the way forward?
Yeah, but you're still sheltered, but you're being able to see in both directions. So, and then I've been reading Calvin Tompkins. I think it's called Artist Conversations, and it's like Jasper Johns and Richard Serra was in there, and it's just these great, 20-30 pages of interviews with these artists. So
those are good.
James Turrell. I mean, it's just they're artists, they're artists who I grew up with. And then I actually got to meet Richard Serra when I worked at Gemini. And just to see him kind of work. So it's just it's nice that I had that connection to having watched from afar and then to read his words and stuff. So it's been cool.
Wonderful. So where's the best place for people to explore your work more, find out more about you?
Right now on the artist directory at Verge. So and since we're able to keep the directory up all year, I'm going to keep it updated. And right now there's just like, 2 works that I have finished in the last few, months, like 2, 3 months, and then some more recent, beyond that. And so right now, just the artist directory.
But that's a very good place.
It is. It is.
A resource where everyone can go to find things.
Yeah, and I'll keep it updated through the year because they're going to keep it up for a year.
Wonderful.
So
any last things you would like to share with our audience tonight about you and your work, or do you want to describe one of the paintings that's behind you of yours?
The Pinyon Pine is the one that I just finished.
That's the one of the opinion.
And this large one back here, that's from art school back in the 80s. We had to do a self-portrait. So things have always been a little dark in my paintings, just a little, not mysterious, but just I kind of tap into just a darker side of life and those feelings that people really don't like to just acknowledge sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was actually from an experience. I'd been hospitalized when I was in my late teens. And so that was just kind of a little bit of that, because we had to collage different pieces into a self-portrait. And so that's what mine was. And then it's tearing a little bit because you never know what's on the other side. I'm on the veranda and I didn't even know it.
You've been there a while.
I've been there a while, yeah. Yeah. But that's it.
Wonderful. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
I too hope that I will get to see your work in person sometime sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we'll all get through this. Yeah.
Yes, we will. And I wish you all the success during
you.
Exact Open Studios.
All right. Thanks so much.